Pokemon card buyouts are happening everywhere. It is actually getting kind of crazy how much things are just getting bought out, how prices are being manipulated, and it just goes to show how easy it is to manipulate prices of cards. Now, I will say it is very possible to also do this with sealed product as well, but for the most part, you will need a lot more money and a lot more just people to buy a certain sealed product rather than a card, because a lot of these cards are maybe what, 10, 20, 30 bucks. Buying multiples isn't that expensive versus buying maybe a booster box that's 150 to 200 bucks. It's a little bit harder to do it that way, but cards, it's so much easier to do it, and we are seeing it happening in this market, which honestly isn't very surprising. But what is surprising is the cards that it's happening to. So there are some promo cards from Crown Zenith tins that are being, you could say, manipulated with. They're getting bought out. And there's also this one other card I wanted to show here from Scarlet and Violet base. You guys have probably seen it by now. How crazy it's gone up in value. It's pretty insane how things are. Just it seems like any card at this moment could just get bought out for whatever reasoning. So let's just first go over the Sword and Shield Crown Zenith tin promo cards. So there's 3 different promos from these tins. I'm pretty sure there's a few variants. There's tins with the 4 packs and there's tins with the 5 packs. I think the promos are probably the same, but there's been 2 of the promos, 2 out of the 3 promos from these tins that have been bought out, and the prices have been, you could say, manipulated with. The biggest one is the Galarian Moltres. This one got bought out like crazy. One day, 361 copies sold at, I guess, an average of 927. The next following day, they went up to 1650, which is an insane gain if you think about it. That's what, probably like 75% or something like that. 157 copies sold. And what are prices at now? Lowest listed for near mint, $20. That's how quickly and how easy it is to buy out copies. Now, let's just do some quick math. Let me pull up my calculator here. So 361 times 927. So that's 3,300 bucks. It sounds like a lot of money, but if you have a few people with like 500 bucks, it can happen. Okay, so this stuff isn't impossible, and with cards that aren't too expensive, maybe $10 or less, it's super easy to manipulate these cards, and that's what's happened. It's very possible some of these people that bought at this price point, maybe even bought here around $6. Let's say they get their cards in from whenever they order them. Let's say prices are still at 20 bucks. They'll just flip them. And then they made like crazy gains. This stuff is very possible, but it is kind of weird to me. I don't know if there's an underlying reason for this card being manipulated. It's obviously, I don't think this is in rotation anymore. I don't know if any Sword and Shield stuff is. I don't think Crown Zenith is, but I don't think there should be really any reason. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm just not in the news. But yeah, this card I've heard being talked about in the space, and yes, it did get, you could say, manipulated with. It got bought out, and the price jumped from $6 to now. I guess the next cheapest card is 20 bucks, but yeah, it's pretty crazy to see that it jumped up this quickly. And yeah, things are getting bought out, and it's really weird. It's a promo from a tin. Now, the other one that got manipulated with is the Galarian Articuno. It's not as crazy as the Moltres, but you can see here there's been a spike of sales for this card. You can see here 196 copies sold just randomly one day, right? And I guess the average market price or cost or whatever is $282. Now, the next cheapest near mint copy is $4, so it is a difference between I don't know what percentage it's, what, 33%. It's just $1 more, but still, I mean, it's obvious a buyout of some sort is happening here. But Moltres was more of an extreme example. Now, what's really strange though is that you can see here, obviously there's been manipulation with these two, but the prices, I guess, is similar to the Galarian Articuno, where I guess you can see the price here doesn't look like it really changed much, but the next cheapest listing is $4. There are some copies down here from these other sellers, so maybe it's not actually that big of a difference, but they are still getting bought out. I mean, this is still around $3, so yeah, it's still gone up a little bit. It's not as crazy, but yeah, they are getting bought out, and I don't know why it's happening. There must be maybe a few people, maybe like 10. It could, honestly, with this stuff and cards especially that are like $2-3. Think about it. 2 times 100 is $200. I think there's a lot of people out there that have $200. Okay, so cards like these can just happen, and I feel like maybe with these promos, it was maybe a domino effect. Maybe the mole trades was first to start getting bought out. Maybe this was a whole plan thing. I don't know. But it is obvious that these have been manipulated with and bought out. It could be one person, could be multiple people. I don't know. At this point in this market, there definitely could be some groups of people. It's like the whole thing with like GameStop stock and all those people just kind of trolling on Reddit. It could honestly be the same thing with Pokemon cards at this point in this market, where just people randomly like, you know what, guys, let's all go and buy some of these cards on this one day, and maybe they have a few hundred people buy like 2 copies each. It could be that simple. And I feel like it's honestly not that hard to do. Like, you could probably get a YouTuber with a decent amount of influence to say, hey, let's all go buy 1 copy of this specific card that's like $2. And I think everyone has a few bucks. It's that easy to manipulate this stuff. But yeah, it is kind of funny that it's promo cards it's happening to, and it's kind of random in my opinion that it's Crown Zenith like tin promos. But it has happened to all of these. So yeah, I don't know what the reasoning is. Maybe there is some underlying thing, but it seems kind of random to me. Now, the next one is a very random one in my opinion. I don't know why this card specifically got bought out, and just in general, I don't know why it happened to this card. It's a Drowzee card. Now, like I said, I don't know if there's an underlying reason. Is there some playability? I don't know. Okay, but you can see here, pretty obviously, this has spiked up from $30 all the way now to 85. So the growth you can see here, there's literally no growth for this card, and then just it shot up like crazy. So you can see there actually is sold listings for $80, some for about $90, and you can see there are some people buying multiple copies. So yeah, it is kind of crazy to see this. And if you actually sort it to near mint, I guess there are more listings than it said. It said there's only 6. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know why this card specifically got bought out. Maybe you guys can let me know. Maybe I'm just dumb and I haven't been reading or whatever. But yeah, this card went up like crazy, and you can see here, it used to be the Gardevoir that was the most expensive card, which is $54, but now it's the Drowzee all of a sudden, and it is a normal illustration rare. I mean, it's not uncommon for this to happen where the illustration rare is the most expensive card. Like, we've seen it with the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved. Will Drowzee be the Magikarp of the set? I don't know. Probably not. It's probably just getting pumped up for whatever reason now. But let's actually check I'm actually curious if the Gardevoir here has been bought out or not. No, it's not. So yeah, I don't know why the Drowzee's going up like this, or why people just all of a sudden decided to buy this card. But it's happening, and it's from Scarlet and Violet base. And with this card being bought out, and now this card is worth like $80 to $90, you can actually see there's been a spike in sales for Scarlet and Violet era, or Scarlet and Violet, not era, but I guess it is, but Scarlet and Violet base booster boxes. You can see here, I mean, pretty evidently, pretty much the same day that this happened, following, the booster boxes, it's got sold more. So maybe if you guys can find maybe any deals on Scarlet and Violet base on maybe eBay, you might be able to maybe get somewhat of a play here, because recently the Drowzee has been pumped up. Now, it is possible this will go down, and then these boxes will also go down, because maybe this is just a one-time pump thing, and maybe does end up declining in price in the near future. But since prices have actually started to go up because there's been more interest in Scarlet and Violet base, hey, maybe you can find a booster box for in the 130s. Maybe that won't be maybe that's not a bad buy. I mean, it's not going to get reprinted anyways. But now that we have a Drowzee card that's like $80-90, it is more attractive to buy this set. But like I said, it's very possible that this is just like a one-time thing, and later on, maybe in a few months, it just goes back down and Drowzee becomes a $30 card again. Who knows? But this market, with cards, it's so easy to manipulate things. Seriously, I think some people underestimate it, because I think it's sort of a meme now to talk about market manipulation, because I feel like it's been talked about so much, like the whole meaning has been diluted. But with cards, I mean, it's pretty evident. It's happened with so many other cards too. It is very easy to do this. Like, honestly, I wouldn't want to do it, but we could do an experiment on this channel where we all just go out and buy one card that's like $1, and we can see what happens. Like, it's really not that hard. But I don't know why this stuff happens. There must be a group doing this, because it seems like it's always just one card one day, just a ton gets sold. Like, if there's not a slow graduation of just like steady like upward growth, like that's not what this is, right? It's just randomly one day, just a ton of cards get sold of one copy. So I don't know if it's a group, I don't know if it's one person that has like a few $1,000s, who knows, but it's happening. And you know what? For people out there that are just randomly holding some of these cards, honestly, in this market, if you guys are holding on to any like illustration rares, any SIRs even, you might want to check the prices of some of them because in this market, it might be worth to maybe sell some of these that have gone up like crazy. Maybe you have a Drowzee IR from Scarlet and Violet base. If you have this card, guess what? It was $30 a week ago. Now it's $80, $90. So maybe it's not a bad time to sell some of these cards off and then buy back later when, in my opinion, they will probably inevitably dip down at some point because this growth obviously is not natural. So if you want to do that, I definitely would say that's not a bad idea because this sort of growth is not normal and it will most likely go down. But we are in this time when there are, I guess card buyouts happening. And I think it's kind of hilarious because for one, I'm not into this whole Pokemon card investing thing. Obviously, I just do sealed product. So for me, I just like to sit back and watch this stuff happen. I think it's entertaining. But I just want to, talk about this news with you guys and see what you guys have to say. I think this stuff is, it just goes to show that it is easy to manipulate cards. I think this has been a known thing, but now it is happening a lot more because we are in this market that's, I guess, a bull market. So, yeah, that's all I want to talk about today. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you on the next one.